Welcome to Comfy CouchCast, everyone. I'm CatBit. I'm the host of the show. We have two of our usual members and a special guest. Who are you guys?
My name's Random Harry.
Shane.
And the special guest, who are you, sir?
Seth Kearsley.
And what are you best known for, Mr. Seth?
I guess it kind of depends on who you ask. Probably 8 Crazy Nights.
Oh, hell yeah.
Big okay.
The best and only good Hanukkah movie. I don't know. I ain't Jewish.
Yeah, I mean that's I guess the thing that most people know me for. But also people tend to be excited about the Kingdom Hearts pilot that I did. And,
oh yeah.
Or I've worked on a bunch of different things, so I never know which thing people are gonna like. Sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, you worked on Dilbert,"
Oh, the one with Tom Kenny as Dilbert.
It was Daniel Stern as Dilbert.
Huh.
Oh wait, yeah. I thought
Daniel
Tom
Stern
Kenny
of Home Alone fame.
You know what's funny?
Sure, he's done many other things, but
that cartoon was actually the reason I knew who Dilbert was.
Yeah.
I saw it back when it was on Netflix, and they got rid of it, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was fun thing to work on. But yeah, if you're in IT, then that's the thing that you freak out about. That I worked on. Like my neighbor does IT for DreamWorks, and he will actually quote Dilbert episodes. I'm like, all right, cool. glad it was that show for someone.
So
I like that.
I'm sorry. So how different was the Dilbert cartoon compared to like the comics, if we can ask?
It's actually funny.
Yeah, I mean, the cartoon is way crazier than the comic. Like the comic is very office humor, and sometimes we were actually wanting to go closer to the comic because the animated series kept going into like crazy land where like they just go to a whole other utopia for offices or something like that. And it was like, I mean, they were fun and everything, but they're also really complicated episodes to do when you think you're doing a show that takes place in an office and that all the humor is going to take place in the office. And then you're constantly going other places means that you're constantly having to design these locations specifically for that one episode that you're never going to use again. So it gets complicated.
I think it worked really well. Like if it was more like the comic, that'd be very boring and like a waste of good animation, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people who specifically have jobs to like design locations, even if it's only for one episode, because there's a show I worked on where we had like a bunch of different locations on that.
Yeah. I just would have rather had like, instead of them hiking to some distant land, that like, they go into like the second floor and the second floor is that distant land, or,
like Parks and Recreations where like the fourth room looks like garbage, like it looks like a wasteland.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Well,
that.
just like my favorite episode of that show was when they couldn't get rid of their old tech. And so they just start stockpiling it in an empty cubicle. And then they put a name tag on that cubicle, Todd. And then they had to keep doing Todd's work in order to keep their old tech going. And then Todd keeps getting all these promotions, and the boss keeps saying things like, "You should thank Todd for your job." So
that show reminded me of Rocko's Modern Life, honestly. Like the way how like Dilbert's a simple character who lives a really crazy, bizarre world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
The Comfy CouchCast will return after these messages.
this month's batch of episodes is brought to you in part by Grandor the Mighty. It's about a 19-year-old Olympic swimmer named Jessica whose life gets changed when the ship she, her best friend, and teammates are on gets shipwrecked on an island where a gigantic robot watches over a base ran by a mad scientist goon. Now tasked with saving the world from the madman who helped create the robot, it's up to her and Grandor to fight their way through a horde of evil robots. But if you asked her, goofing off with her metal friends sounds like a much Better idea. It's Megas XLR meets Johnny Sacco in this rather pedestrian take on the classic mecha genre with a new page every week. Click the link in the description below to read Grandor the Mighty.
We now return to the Comfy CouchCast.
So now let's just get on to like the questions that we have for you. Our first one is to ask like, how was it like working on 8 Crazy Nights, and like, how was your experience on it?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was cool. Adam was great to work with, and
When you met Adam Sandler, you're like, hallelujah, hallelujah.
yeah, I actually I was still working on Dilbert when that came up, and I got a call from the supervising producer one morning, and he's like, "Don't go into work yet. I might need you to come up to Sandler's house." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so then I got the call to go up there, and then as I'm going up, his house was in Bel Air, and I'm driving by these like massive estates on my way to his house, and like I was always a Sandler fan, and I was like, "Oh man, what if he lives in one of these giant estates and he's got like a butler and he's so not the guy that like you think that he is?" And
No, I get that.
but then I got there, and it was just kind of like a normal house. It was just like way up in Bel Air, and I knocked on the front door, and like no one was coming to the front door, and I was like, "Is anyone even home? Like, there's a bunch of cars here, but like no one's coming to the front door." And then I hear from around, like from the kitchen door, "Hello!" I was like, "Oh my God, that's Adam Sandler's like saying hi." So and then he was totally like, who you expect him to be. And I went into his place, and it wasn't like some grand cathedral. It was like a total bachelor pad, with pinball machines and a giant Colonel Sanders, and giant couch that clearly they watch the game on all the time and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
That sounds like the perfect dream home, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If I had a dream home, it'd be like the one from Luigi's Mansion, but the one where you get the S ranking, and also some rooms would be different.
Was there like stuff you had to like go over with him, like with designs?
Yeah, I mean, he was really involved, kind of almost every day.
That's good.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Like, how involved was he with the project, if I can ask, aside from voice acting?
I mean, he was also the producer. He also wrote it, and then depending on what their schedule was on other films that they were doing, like they also during the time that we did 8 Crazy Nights, they were also shooting Little Nicky, and
I actually think Little Nicky's underrated.
I've never. What's Little Nicky?
It's the one where he's like the Antichrist, and he's got to bring his brothers back to hell.
Oh yeah,
well, he's the son of the devil.
Oh yeah, isn't it like I thought people hated that movie or something?
A lot of people hate on Adam Sandler movies because
on everything because it's Sandler.
I feel like the work he did on the ones that he worked on that I feel like gets the most undeserved hate is like the Hotel Transylvania movies. I thought those were
no, don't. Everyone loves those movies because like I think like that actually saves his career, honestly.
Yeah, well, my favorite were like I remember the theater that I saw Billy Madison in, and I remember quoting Happy
Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore,
Happy Gilmore. Son of a bitch, ball! Why don't you go back to your home? This is your home. Suck my white ass, ball.
Yeah, and then he was part of my cast of SNL. So when I was in high school and college, it was every Saturday night was watching him as Opera Man, or him and Farley and Spade, as the Mall Girls, or stuff like that.
I mean, I never saw Saturday Night Live, but I think that was during time when it was actually good.
Yeah, and then they all left kind of all at the same time, and took a while before it was good again.
Yeah, that happens a lot, honestly.
I haven't been keeping up with Saturday Night Live, but I know that Kenan Thompson's on there a lot.
Yes.
And I hear he does really good on there.
Yeah.
Only thing
I
I know
think the
about
cast
it.
is just too huge now. Like when you watch the opening credits, it seems like it's an SNL skit about the opening credits of SNL, because it's like it just keeps going and going and going and going. Like, you know, I think, like, do you really need like 30 people to be in the cast? Like, can't you make it work with fewer? It seems like it's better if it works with fewer.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I commute to work, I would see people just waiting outside, even if it's like winter outside, to just be in the audience for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
What if you were in Saturday Night Live random? Like, you'd be the one guy who would kind of stand out. Like, you would have like your rock star hair and Invader Zim teacher, like, hello.
Actually, I did that, but for like Stephen Colbert, like they had Ghost on there. This was their first time like doing a talk show in America.
Nice.
Huh.
So I was in like the crowd for that one.
So,
Also with 8 Crazy Nights, were there like ideas that were scrapped?
Yeah, there were a lot of cutscenes, and there was a whole reform school game that I think is on the DVD, where, you know, the basketball team goes and plays a basketball team at a reform school, but it was crazy even for 8 Crazy Nights. Because they had people that were like getting smashed into the floor, and then like skidding, and then they would get up and they're missing all the skin on the front of them. And it's like, that's funny if it's like a really cartoony thing, but we weren't really doing a really cartoony look, so then it's kind of horrifying that kid just got skinned alive. But we did a test screening early on. And the test audience kind of unanimously hated that scene.
Man!
I also hated that scene, so I was like, yes, that's gone.
Is it true that like some of the animators previously worked on Iron Giant?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
You know, when it first started, the plan was that the animation was going to all be done in Korea, and we were going to like do character layout here, you know, so similar pipeline as The Simpsons. And then it was like, oh, well, maybe we'll animate the songs here. And then Osmosis Jones came out and tanked, and pretty much put an end to Warner Brothers feature animation, or at least for the time. And so all of a sudden we've got all these guys that worked on Iron Giant and Osmosis Jones, and that were available. And then at the same time, Disney's Florida studio, suddenly Disney wasn't sending any more work to Florida. So kind of their whole Florida studio was available. And then at the same time, Fox stopped doing feature animation. So they had a whole studio in Phoenix that was suddenly available. So kind of like all of a sudden we had a ton of really awesome animators to pick from.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, like, thanks to CGI essentially killing 2D animation, you were able to get like these amazing and talented artists to work on.
We definitely benefited from CG killing 2D. Yeah. And you know, a lot of the animators, we also animators that would leave in the middle of production because they decided that they want to go the CG route, and so there were places that were hiring animators with no CG experience and then training them. So keeping people was kind of difficult, and we had crew all over the world. So there was a whole team in Copenhagen also, and There was a little bit of a team in Korea that did more like background characters. We had a team in Japan that did a lot of effects. We had a team in Greece. We had a team in London for a while. So yeah, it was really spread out.
So what you're saying is 8 Crazy Nights is a perfect example of world peace.
Yeah.
Well,
We actually achieved world peace through 8 Crazy Nights. Yeah.
I mean, hey, you hear that, nostalgia critic? 8 Crazy Nights made world peace.
yeah.
Seth, did you ever saw Nostalgia Critic's 8 Crazy Nights review?
Yeah.
Did you were like, who is this man? Why does he have big ass teeth? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea who. And someone sent it to me, and I just commented, hilarious, because like I agree with some of the things that he's saying. It's. I was 27 when I started 8 Crazy Nights, and I was 30 by the time it came out. And you don't have a whole lot of pull with the studio when you're 27 and you're directing your first feature film. So there were things that were in it that I didn't want in it. There are things that are in it that, Sandler, now that he has, he's married and has kids, is like, yeah, I kind of wish we hadn't done that. But, at the time we were all like the cool uncles that, were like, the kids will be fine, and then now when you're dad and you've got to watch the thing with the kids with mom right there, who's like, oh, why does he have to do that? Why does he have to be like that? And it's like,
why is it deer licking the shit? It's like, I was young, I didn't know, but I wonder.
Yeah.
That happens a lot with people.
I think the only thing I really agreed that he said was like Whitey's voice was annoying, because I couldn't stand hearing his voice.
What? How dare you? I love Whitey's voice, you bastard.
I'll tell you
that
that
orange chicken at Panda Express.
Yeah, orange flavored chicken.
Yours is better.
I'll tell you that when we did test screenings, like, we specifically asked about the voice because with Little Nicky, that was the biggest complaint from everyone too, was the voice that he was doing. And he actually, with Little Nicky, redid all of his lines to adjust the voice so it was less, annoying. And so with 8 Crazy Nights, we asked the test audience, what do you think of Whitey's voice? And it was kind of unanimous that it was annoying. And then we're like, so should we change it? And then it was unanimous, no, don't touch it. It's perfect. It's like, it's so him. I can't imagine him sounding any other way. So it's like, okay, cool. We're going.
I have a new way of looking at it now. Thank you for that.
And there were lines that he toned down because, Whitey would do a lot of like, now I've been thinking. And so,
like he sounds like a little drunk Bill Cosby or something.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh my god.
So some of those lines where he went really crazy, like, they got toned down a little bit. So. But yeah, I mean, everyone complains about the voice. Everyone complains about the product placement.
Those people are bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what was up with the whole like part where like we all heard what happened at the skating rink today? Like, what was up with that whole spiel?
The whole mall coming to life.
Yeah, what was like? Were you guys just like thinking like, okay, we got a whole bunch of money from these people. What can we do with it?
That's the thing, is we didn't get any money from those people.
Wait,
the only reason why we had actual stores from the mall was because I didn't want to have joke store names. The idea was that the mall was kind of Whitey's only friend. And there was a scene that was cut earlier that Whitey came in and kind of sings his praises for the mall. It got cut because people felt like, Whitey's voice was annoying. And, so do we really want to start the movie out with a song by this character that people find his voice annoying? And let's sort of ease people into Whitey, and we'll start with Davey instead. So, but there was a whole scene where, he basically goes around and says hello to all of the different stores in the mall, rhyming it. So, when that gets cut, then that intervention song sequence makes less sense. So,
I
and I
think
guess
it would
the
make
idea
less
was,
sense, even
go
if it
ahead.
was. No, I think it would make even less sense if it was still on there. It'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of what the hell things in there. So
yeah.
Honestly, I just let it roll.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
an Adam Sandler movie, so
And it's an animated one by that too, so
Yeah.
you shouldn't really question the world's logic.
But what I found from 8 Crazy Nights is that the scenes that one person says that, like, what the hell was going on with that, are the scenes that another person's like, no, that's my favorite scene. So, there's kind of no winning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I like the song.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Seth,
Getting to
here's a
meet Carl
question.
Weathers was cool. And Tyra Banks, young Tyra Banks, still modeling for Victoria's Secret. Getting to meet her was cool.
Oh yeah, the part where he was like, "I know, I was watching."
Yeah,
He's like,
I know, I
"Motherfucker."
was watching. Yeah, I know. I just watched the movie on the 22nd. There was in town. There was a screening that was happening, and so it's the first time that I've watched it all the way through, probably in like 15 years. And I was watching it with my wife, who I met on the movie. And then my daughters, who, my wife was like, they can watch it when they're 13. It's PG-13. They have to be 13. And so I was like, I mean, there's a screening. So, like, it's going to be better if we watch it at a screening with them than, at home when they're 13. So at least they can hear other people laughing at jokes and things.
I watched it when I was 11. That turned out great.
Yeah, my niece and nephews watched it when they were too young, and then I would get calls from my sister going, "Yeah, I just want to thank you for the call I had from Aaron's school when he was putting his hand on the back of his pants and going, 'My finger's in your mouth, kitty, but I don't feel no teeth.'" I'm like, oh. Yeah, sorry about that. And she's like, oh, and then also there was the call I got from Alex's school where she kept repeating over and over while she's dancing around, "My jewels got licked by 6 frisky deer." Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have gone to see it.
Man, if I was a teacher, I'd give your niece and nephew an A+. I'd be like, I've raised some good students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Seth, here's another question we have to ask. Like, how was the experience on like the Cancel Kingdom Hearts cartoon, and like, how are your thoughts on like the franchise with what it's become nowadays? If we can ask.
Well, it wasn't picked up, so it wasn't that it was canceled. It's just that it was never picked up. But we did a 7-minute pilot animatic that was color animatic. And it tested better than anything else that they tested during that round. And they didn't want to move forward with it because they said that there were other games that were going to be coming, because this was really like the first game had just come out. I really poured a lot into it. And so when they didn't go with it, I was kind of bummed. And so I played the whole game from start to finish, and they had a script that had like read like an episode of Aladdin that also starred the characters from Kingdom Hearts.
Would it have the same actors?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Except for Haley Joel Osment, because he was doing other things by that point.
Yeah. I think
but we had the person that did the pickups for him for a Jungle Book movie that he had done a voice for. So it was kind of like, the Disney approved sound alike of Haley Joel Osment.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, it was really dark and cool, and And I felt like it was kind of a lame reason to not move forward with it. And so, after that, I was just like, it's kind of like, like that summer girlfriend that, summer's over and nothing happened. And then, sort of like, well, that was fun. And then, you forget about it. So it wasn't until way later that I was like, I have all these boards from this thing that I did that, I like the drawings. And so I posted them on my DeviantArt page, and then people went apeshit because I guess there had been rumors of this pilot, but it was like long since the rumors had died down and nothing had come out. And so then there were these boards that all of a sudden appeared. So it was kind of like, a unicorn walking down the street for the fans. And I didn't keep track of the franchise or anything, so I didn't know that they made more games and all of that.
Yeah, keep in mind, Kingdom Hearts has like a very devoted fan base.
Yeah,
it's true. I think I've seen some of them on like Pan Pizza's top 10 lost stuff. Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I remember hearing like things on forums back in like the late 2000s about this thing. Because like it was about 2003. It was the first thing that I was doing after 8 Crazy Nights. And I was looking for something. I mean, I had been developing a dark Alice in Wonderland project of my own. And I was looking for something that I had been talking to people about the idea of American anime. And I was looking for something that I could do that would sort of like, epitomize American anime. And so here's this project that has American animation characters in it and anime characters in it. And I was like, this could be the perfect thing to show like how you could merge the worlds and how you could have like one animation style for these characters and another animation style for these characters. And, so it was kind of like the perfect thing. And then I played the game and I was like, wow, that's a really cool game. Yeah, I mean, I would still love to do it. And I still bring it up to Disney, but it's just not on their radar because they've got so many different franchises. I mean, it's in line behind anything Marvel and anything Star Wars, and anything of their legacy characters. So
maybe Disney should consider putting Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts. That would make some sense. And also, your idea sounds like it'd be like Cap and Mikey, but better, honestly.
Honestly, it's like with how the way you describe it, it honestly feels like this could have been like one of the very first like video game adaptations based on a Japanese property that could have been very good because like this is like comparing it to like compared to like the other cartoons based on Japanese properties like the Mario cartoons and such like
well, like also, the first show that I worked on out of Cal Arts was The Max for MTV. It was based on the Sam Keith comic. We were all huge fans of Sam's and huge fans of the comic. And we all hated how comic book adaptations always looked nothing like the comic. And so we were really trying to make it look exactly like the comic. So, even doing the inset panels, we were trying to recreate the page layouts that Sam would do and the sort of borders that he would do around his panels and things like that. So with Kingdom Hearts, it really was, trying to hold true to both the game and then all of the features that were featured in the game. And so the pilot episode took place in Agrabah, and I went to the Disney archives and pulled actual backgrounds from Aladdin, and was able to have them scanned and used those as actual backgrounds in the thing. So just sort of putting the Kingdom Hearts characters standing at the bottom of that tower going up to the lamp, instead of Aladdin, but really trying to visually marry the two that way.
That'd be so cool.
That's so awesome. I would have loved to see
it
What
really
that.
was
sucks.
Aladdin background made of? Like I know it was painted. Like what kind of stuff did they use to make that?
It's paint on paper.
Like acrylic oil paintings.
Yeah. Probably
Sweet.
acrylic. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think it would have worked if you guys decided to go with the series and you went to Halloween Town?
Halloween Town. I feel like that they said that would be the one place that we couldn't go because of the deal with Tim Burton or something like that. But I mean, I would have done it as stop motion.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool
Too
if you
bad.
guys did.
Too bad Tim Burton's not a gamer.
And too bad like Disney canceled this just because like because of like some reasonings behind the scenes or something.
I mean, it came out. If this thing ended up happening, I think this would have been the perfect time for it, and it would have done well.
What, right now or
no, like 2003?
Yeah. I mean, it was also it would have been the first American show to have a season-long story arc. Because this is way before. I mean, I guess Gargoyles had it a little bit, but Gargoyles also killed that idea of season-long story arcs because it was such a troubled production. They were like, no, you can't do an origin story pilot. You have to do a pilot that's like episode 7. And every episode has to stand alone. It can't be that you have to watch it in sequence. But that's what we were going for was, a series-long story arc that, followed the game.
That sounds very ambitious, and honestly, I would have loved to see the show like as a kid because like growing up, like it was interesting seeing like Donald and Goofy in like this one game that like oh god, I sound like I'm rambling. Like it would have been cool to see. It would have been cool to see your ideas for the Kingdom Hearts cartoon, but like it kind of sucks. Like what happened. So.
Yeah, because you sound like you have a lot of effort to put into this project.
Yeah, compared to like a lot of video game cartoons, mostly Deke, like this one sounds very ambitious.
Yeah.
Hey, Seth, did you guys ever had an idea of like putting characters that were not in Kingdom Hearts, like say the Proud Family?
No, I mean I was looking to follow the game, so.
Oh, I get that.
But if it were to go beyond that, I really like the idea of. I mean, this was also before we were using the term Marvel Universe or Star Wars Universe. So the fact that Kingdom Hearts was kind of already playing with that idea. If we were to go into another universe where the Proud Family existed, and it made sense, then we'd do that. I liked that, the Heartless had gone through the Final Fantasy universe, and then now it was coming through the Disney universe, and all of that. So,
I do have one question with this. Like, if you guys did went through with the cartoon, would Square Enix have allowed you to use the Final Fantasy characters, or would you have not been allowed to use them one bit?
It never came up. They weren't in the pilot, and it might be that that's the reason also why it hasn't gone or why it makes it complicated. It might be that because there are different deals for each one of those different properties that just legally it makes it too complicated. Who knows?
I keep hearing like people say that like that's like I keep hearing people saying that like the Gravity Falls pilot got an excuse to be released despite the fact that they used unlicensed music from like the Gorillaz and such.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's true. If they have music from the Gorillaz, they definitely would have been playing or paying for that.
Yeah.
Disney's lawyers aren't going to let something like that slide.
Then again, like Disney's lawyers are Disney's lawyers are like the real life heart. If we could be honest with her.
They're basically.
the real Heartless.
I mean, they're doing their jobs. That's their job.
They're basically the Gluckins from Oddworld. Also, I think like this show should be like on Disney Plus. That'd be perfect. Because there's no like original Disney Plus that's actually good. Because like Lady and Tramp one that sucked. That Noel was boring from what I've heard.
What about The
like
Mandalorian?
It feels like the only. It feels like the only show people care about for Disney Plus is like The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, if Kingdom Hearts was on Disney Plus,
Dude,
it would be pulling in the Pixar. Which would you put it in? The Pixar one, the Disney one, the Star Wars one, the Marvel one. Like it could be pulling from all of those universes.
How about
so
give it
it really could be the show that sort of pulls Disney Plus together.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
That could really work. Yeah. So try to like talk to like people with Disney Plus. It sounds like very likely it could work.
Maybe Disney Plus could be your second chance on getting this Kingdom Hearts cartoon made.
Yeah.
Sure.
And seeing how like Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and everyone loved that game, like I get the film. People they'll be like, "Hey, let's make some money off of this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Shane, to be honest, I actually didn't like Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, well, who cares what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I hear from the Kingdom Hearts fans that like, it's like, oh, the manga is the one that really got it right, or this part is what is really the best part. And if it were to happen, I would immerse myself in all of the different parts of the Kingdom Hearts world. And not do just a recreation of exactly what is there, but because I've heard that that the story kind of goes all over the place. That after the first game, it's sort of like goes
the
in all
story's
kinds of different directions.
Yeah, the story's a mess. I mean, like they have like a stage show in Japan, and like the creators of the game says that like you have to watch it just to get a grasp of like the story for some reason. It's like even the creator himself doesn't even know what he's doing anymore.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, maybe.
True.
So, to have that much freedom.
That sounds like it.
So we have our next question is, and we want to ask this, like, how was your history with Family Guy, and what was your favorite episode that you worked on?
Favorite episode for me is definitely Petarded.
That's my favorite episode of the whole series.
Yeah, I mean that script was perfect, and I lucked out that I got it. It was the first episode that I did. Also,
you know what's funny about Petarded? Like, me and my girlfriend actually love that episode so much. We actually have conversations with quotes from that episode.
Yeah.
So knowing like you have an episode that has to do with like my relationship, and how we talk means a lot. So thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
So Family Guy is the perfect bonding relationship.
That episode specifically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like again, like how's your history with like Family Guy? We can ask Seth.
Everything. What's that?
How did you get the job on Family Guy and everything?
Well, the producer and the associate producer, the producer, we worked together on Dilbert, and she was the associate producer on Dilbert, and then she came over, Caravallo, and she came over and was the producer on 8 Crazy Nights at first, and then there was a whole, madness that happened on 8 Crazy Nights, and she ended up leaving, which is a whole story all its own. So then when Family Guy got picked up for that, that comeback season, because of the popularity on Cartoon Network, then she was producing that. And then the associate producer had been one of my associate production managers on 8 Crazy Nights. So I knew a lot of people that were on the show, and they were looking for primetime directors, and it's different now, but at the time there really weren't a lot of primetime directors. That's kind of how I come into the thing. I went to CalArts the same time as Peter Shin, and I had worked on The Simpsons with Pete Michaels, and they were both the supervising directors at the time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of connection. Like, animation is a very small industry, was smaller then than it is now. And then Primetime Animation is an even smaller group, because especially then, people that are working in like animation for kids or feature animation really look down on Primetime Animation as being like, garbage animation. But then they come into Primetime Animation and don't know how to do it. So it's its own genre. Like working on the show, it was actually my first show back into a studio for a long time after 8 Crazy Nights. So there was some, me adjusting to like actually being around other people, not sitting on my couch smoking pot and playing video games all day. So that was weird. Going to the bathroom the same time as other people, also weird. Everyone going to eat at the same place every day, weird. Like all of the things that are like normal about like, being in an office environment all seemed very weird because I had been, working from home for a couple of years before that.
That was my time when I was working on something for The Simpsons too. Like, there's only like certain areas you can go to. So basically the people I would work with, we would go to like this one Bravo's Pizza down on like 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
yeah, I mean on Family Guy there was like a Marie Callender's the street and like a Baja Fresh, and I think there was like maybe one other thing, and like that was it for food.
There was also like a hot dog stand. There was also a Five Guys, and I'm like, oh god, my cholesterol's gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get diabetes, motherfucker.
Yeah. Working on the show was because I was used to with 8 Crazy Nights and with Dilbert and with Mummy's Alive, which is the show that I did before Dilbert. That's a long time of me being the guy who makes all the calls. Coming into Family Guy, where I'm sort of like down the food chain a few notches, it was an adjustment period. And then there were a lot of things that I was trying to do stylistically with the show that I was getting a lot of pushback on, like crazy things like moving characters in 3/4 through like actually in 3/4 in space, not just like walking in 3/4 but actually moving profile.
I think mainly because like there's a strict like model that Family Guy has. You have to like only go in this kind of like area space.
Yeah, but now they're doing all that stuff. All the stuff that I was doing that they were giving me a hard time about, now they're doing.
I mean, I haven't seen. From what I've seen from Family Guy, it still looks like the same from 2012. Like they haven't really done anything new looking.
Yeah.
Actually, you'd be surprised. Yeah, like it looks more high budget now since
it has evolved since was it like 2003, 2004 the comeback season started. It's evolved a lot since then. Like it was very like when they came back, it was very much like it felt like we were boarding the Flintstones. It was just like you got your wide, they're looking at each other, you cut in close on that guy, you cut in close on that guy, you come back to the wide, you cut in close, and like no actual camera angle changes. So now there's much more filmmaking that goes on in the episodes.
It's probably due to like their budget like increasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but I think also it's due to like it didn't need restricted. You can tell the jokes. You can give the artists a little bit more freedom, but they were really concerned about it making it look like every single episode was actually drawn by Seth MacFarlane. And I think that they've eased up on that now and are realizing that if you let artists do their job and don't get in their way so much with so many rules that those artists can bring a lot to the table. So they were sort of not allowing that at the time. So I did 3 episodes, and after 3 episodes, it was kind of like, yeah, I don't really need to keep doing this. And they were kind of like, yeah, we don't really need you to keep doing this. And then I went and did some more pilots, and ultimately ended up doing another show where I was the showrunner for ABC Family.
What were you showrunner for?
It was a show called Slacker Cats. It was
is that one show where like it looks like a kid's show, but it's not?
It's definitely not a kid's show, yeah.
Yeah, like they had like some pink cat hanging out with a dead cat. Like
yeah. Not just hanging out, but making out.
Yeah. What the fuck?
I'm not sure if you made that rhyme. Like, did you
unintentional poetry? Yeah.
That was unintentionally rhymed. Oh wow.
Damn, son, that's clever.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the other pilots you planned on making?
Right after Family Guy, I did a pilot with Ron White. That was at Sony. And was a funny show, and then the executives at the network noted it to death, and then it like lost the edge that it had, and then those executives moved on to another network, and then the new executives that came in were like, yeah, it just doesn't seem very edgy. We're like, yeah, that was the guys that were here before you that did that. That tends to happen.
That usually does happen. When you were making these pilots, did you have to get them approved first before making them?
Well, I'm being hired as the director for the thing, so they weren't my shows. Like I didn't pitch them, and
all right.
They were like the Ron White one was written by Donna Carey, who went on to showrun New Girl, and was also on Silicon Valley, and blanking on his other thing that's pretty big right now. But yeah, it's other writer showrunners that then I'm coming in to showrun the art side.
I never really got to see like pilots in the making. Usually the stuff I've worked on were already like greenlit to be like a season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really frustrating to do an animated pilot and then to spend all that time on something and build up a world and then have it not go. So I did another one with the guy who created News Radio, and it starred Jimmy Fallon, and we did this whole pilot, and then he got the Tonight Show, and we're like, okay, cool, so let's like get a different comic actor to come in and do the voice, and then that one just disappeared. It's like they spend all this money to make these pilots, and then if something doesn't happen, like boom, right when it's done, then it's like on to the next.
Yeah, that's like a lot that happens a lot in animation, especially like where I'm working now. There's like lots of things that can change the entire production.
Yeah, it just seems ridiculous because there's such a need for content. Why would you spend $500,000 making something to just be like, yeah, let's do something else?
Yeah, so basically where I currently am right now, my job is to basically avoid stuff like this from happening while I'm also animating at the same time.
Right.
You're doing God's work.
Yeah. So I'm just like responsible for like a lot of things.
Yeah.
When it comes to this thing.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of I've seen this a lot where it's like there's a lot of stuff that looks like effort was put into it, but then like stuff like Cartoon was like, we don't want this shit, we don't want no damn effort, and then they make something of their own, and people hate it, and then like they realize, oh shit, like that Powerpuff Girls where it's like they clearly was like, yeah, people are gonna love this, people hate it, and now even they're like, what? We made this? No, we don't. Put it on Boomerang, no one cares.
Yeah. Well, that kind of happened for us with Slacker Cats, because they were like, make it edgy, make it edgy, make it edgy. And we did 12 episodes, and they only aired 6 of them. And it was on ABC Family, and ABC Family had the 700 Club that came on right after us. So, you've got pothead cats and necrophilia jokes, and then, the 700 Club. So, funny how that works out, that they didn't quite, pull the same audience.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what happened to Ren and Stimpy Adult Party cartoon. Like, Spike TV was really wanting this happen, and then it didn't do well with audiences, so they decided to can the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I found out later with Soccer Cats that they were trying to rebrand the whole network, and they were going to do like a whole block of edgy adult animation, and then they realized that they couldn't do that, and so then their notes started to change to kind of soften it and maybe play up the Tabitha character more, and then they ended up saying that we're just going to air the first 6 as season 1, and then we're going to air the other 6 as season 2, but then the other 6 are only available on iTunes now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this series would have worked at Adult Swim back in the time it came out, and maybe when Fox ADHD was around.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could have worked there.
Everyone that came in to record were like, okay, so this is an Adult Swim show, right? No, ABC Family. And they're like, wait, what? Why is it ABC Family? So it was ABC Family because they were going to rebrand, and they
this could have been worked. This could have worked, but I think it was just at the wrong network. That was the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think some jokes should have not been there. I think the implied necrophilia was that's unnecessary.
What show are you guys talking about?
Soccer Cats.
Where the hell were you?
I had to do some things.
It's okay.
You had to go pee.
What's Slacker Pants?
Slacker Cats.
What's Slacker Cats? I mean,
it's basically an ABC Family animated show that kind of got canned because of its edgy content.
So why would they put it? Why did
they asked for edgy content?
Why put an adult cartoon on a channel that's called ABC?
We explain our reasons.
Yeah, they wanted to rebrand themselves.
Fuck.
You've been here.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back, biatch.
Lol, I'm back.
It's all right. But anyway, we got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing currently with your career right now?
Currently, I'm looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
No, currently I'm at DreamWorks. I did after Soccer Cats. Then I worked on a Mike Judge show that went nowhere. And
are you talking about The Good Family?
The Good Family, yeah. And then after that, I helped someone set up a studio and did a pilot. And then I was like, I should just do that for myself. And so I basically spent 10 years trying to make a go of my own studio, with the idea that I would do my own content at my own studio, and that would be the dream. And I did a bunch of pilots. That's when I did the Jimmy Fallon pilot, and did another pilot with the guy who created Night Court, and was a writer on The Simpsons for a bunch of years. And then I did a couple of micro series for Cartoon Network Asia, and it was all kind of coming to a head. I pitched a show to Netflix of my own idea, and they were going for it. And I was doing a pilot animatic for them, and every time we met on it, they were like, "This looks great. Let's do it. This looks great." And so, we're going into what I thought was going to be the green light call, and then it turned out to not be the green light call. And I was like,
I'm sorry.
I need a job, in the studios where, all during that time while I was doing my own studio, I was also still working for the studio so I could keep my union hours current. So I directed on Looney Tunes. I did story for Illumination movies. Worked on Phineas and Ferb, but all working remotely so that I could still keep, the dream alive of my own studio. And So when Willy Nilly didn't happen, you know, I always thought like if I'm going to go into a studio, I want to go into DreamWorks because like you know it's just a beautiful place to work, so I ended up getting a job on Where's Waldo, and so that's the job that I'm wrapping up right now.
That's good to hear.
And you know, there might be other stuff for me there, but you know, also looking at other studios. Hopefully, going. You know, it'd be great to go back into Netflix to you know do a show for them, and then revive my Willy pilot once I'm in there. Because that really is the dream, to do my own thing. You know, I've made a lot of shows for other people, and I really just want to make, you know, my own show from my own ideas.
Yeah,
Where you-
that happens to a lot. Like I remember Doug Maple used to do simple work, but then he got to do his own stuff like Earthworm Jim.
Yeah.
It's like it's so cool seeing like I was once a simple test animator or something, but now I'm doing this. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, Doug also, he does a lot of graphic novels that, you know, then get
I
picked
love
up. And
his stuff.
yeah. I met with him. I had lunch with him at one point, and he basically was like, "What? There's nothing I'm doing that you couldn't do. Like, just come up with a comic book and do a comic book, and you know, like, don't spend time, you know, pitching and like that. Take all the time that you're going to spend pitching and spend it making a comic book, and then guess what? You're not going to have to pitch it because your comic book's going to pitch it for you." You know, when that reader goes home with a pile of scripts over the weekend, they're going to put your graphic novel on the top because they know that it's going to be more fun to get through the graphic novel than it is to read someone's script. So just do a graphic novel. I'm like,
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, that's like basically me and like some friends of mine have been doing that for a while. Like one thing that I'm working on, like on making it like a web comic first before like I ever decide to pitch it as a cartoon or so.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I tell people now. Like, you know what? Like, it's such a giant pain in the ass to first of all figure out who the people are to even pitch to, and then to try to get a meeting and try to get that meeting to stick, so that meeting actually happens. And then, you know, maybe you get to pitch your idea. Maybe they give you some feedback on the idea and say like, yeah, do blah 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 and bring it back to us. And then maybe you do that and come back to them and pitch again, and maybe they give you more feedback. And but you know, gradually you're going to move off the target of what it was you were trying to do in the first place. But you're going to do it because, you know, it's like, well, I mean, but they said like, you know, they gave us these notes, so that must be what they want.
Yeah.
But you know, they're spending 5 minutes with you, and you know, they're spending 5 minutes with, you know, 30 other people that day. And when you bring it back, they don't remember the notes that they gave you. So, you know, you're going to go all over the place with your idea. And then in the end, it's not even going to look like the thing that you wanted to do in the first place. But, you know, but I don't know. It seems like this is what they want. So I always tell people now, like, just do it. Just make it however you can make it. Get it out there. You know, don't ask for permission to do that thing that you want to do. Just go do it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do because I'm currently making like a short for like an idea I've had. I recruited like a couple of friends of mine who've worked in stuff before. Like my friend Gens is doing storyboards for it. He did some animation on Skullgirls. And he makes his like web comic called Boxcar City. It's really good. I definitely recommend that. Shout out to Gens. He's really cool. Check him out on Twitter.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
So I guess like to wrap things up, like this was a Seth. Thank you so much for being on Comfy Couch today. Like it was really fun, like interviewing you and such.
Sure.
Asking you all these questions.
Yeah.
All I could say is like I hope for the best for your future animation studio, and I hope that your project that you're planning to pitch off gets picked up off the ground.
Thanks.
No problem. So
Yeah.
is this the end? Is this the end of the podcast?
I believe so.
Well,
Let's-
thanks for
Let's
having
run up to
me.
school.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm CatBit. Who are you people?
Random Hiri.
Your mom.
Seth Kearsley.
Thank you guys for listening, and take care.